Today I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful scrunchie for your hair out of leftover jelly roll strips. Now this scrunchie has been made from a full jelly roll strip, which, as you know, is roughly about 2 inches wide by about 40-45 inches. The actual minimum I think you can make is about 36 inches, which is about 90 centimetres of jelly roll strip. That would make this one. The bands in the centre of these are both exactly the same. It's just one is a little fuller than the other. Perfectly good though. So if you want to make these for your family, your friends, for craft fairs, for school fairs, it's a great way to use up the leftover strips of your jelly rolls. You just need an elastic and a strip of jelly roll. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the little end, plain end on the jelly roll strip, because we don't want that to see on the scrunchie. So I'm literally just cutting that off across the way like so. Then I'm going to go to the ironing board now, and I'm going to turn over about 1 centimetre on this strip. Oh, just to let you know, this video is to show you how to make this scrunchie, these scrunchies, on a standard sewing machine. I have done another video that is almost exactly the same, showing you how to make it on an overlocker. But I know not everyone likes an overlocker or has one. Okay, so over to the ironing board. Okay, I'm at the ironing board and I've got my jelly roll strip and I have this piece of paper, card. I bought this quite a while ago. It's to help you turn hems, as you can see here, on dresses, skirts, sleeves, all sorts. I didn't use it after I'd opened it because I was so annoyed when I opened it. It's a piece of cardboard with lines on. So if you want to use something as handy as this, and it is handy, you can draw a centimetre line away from the edge of a piece of card and use that to press with. So I'm going to pop this on my jelly roll and I'm just going to use my iron and I'm going to bring over to the 1 centimetre line the strip of jelly roll. Now, as you can see, this is quite a handy little piece of paper. It does get quite warm, so do be careful while you're pressing. And because you can do a nice long strip like this actually quite quickly, so it is quite handy, but it is quite annoying because it's reasonably expensive for a piece of paper. So please make yourself one. If someone had have told me, I would have made myself one rather than paid the money for it. Just a moment. And as you can see, I'll show you in just one moment. It is quite quick when you do this. To turn that centimetre over, and it gives us quite a nice folded over edge there. Okay. Now I'm going to turn these right side together on my jelly roll strip, matching these ends. Go to the other end where the fold is. I'm going to snip through the fold. Okay. So that gives me 2 pieces of jelly roll. Now I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and we'll finish this off. I will pop back here for a quick press, but in between, but we're going to go and sew these seams. Okay, so I'm at the sewing machine and I'll just put my needle to the centre. I'm going to take the 2 unpressed edges on the jelly roll and match them together. Okay, sorry, I have to just do that on this side. So all I'm doing is just matching those 2 unpressed edges together, and I'm going to use the edge of my foot as my guide, and I'm just going to stitch a seam along there, joining the 2 pieces of jelly roll that we've got. Just a couple of stitches back to secure it, and then I'm going to just stitch along it, making sure my edges are together. I'm not going to run this bit on, it's very quick, because you're just doing a straight stitch about, I don't know, is that 5-6 millimeters away from the edge. I just use the edge of the machine foot as my guide. As long as it seals all the way down, that's all we need, just a straightforward seam, holding them together. Now I'm back at the ironing board, and you don't have to do this bit if you don't want. I prefer to press my seams, and that does a couple of things if you're not a seam presser. First of all, it will set the stitch, okay? And secondly, particularly if you're using a stretch fabric, when you stitch on the stretch fabric, obviously it does stretch the fabric a little bit. And when you apply heat to it, it sort of shrinks it back into its natural position to where it should be. And it gives you a much better finish. This is just a scrunchie, it's not that important. So if you don't want to do this step, miss it out. So I'm just going to open this up and run my iron over that centre seam. And as I said, this is personal preference. I just prefer to press this seam open. There you can see, it's just pressed to one side. And the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to again put these right sides together at the ends, and we're going to join these short ends. We're going to go back over to the machine now and finish this scrunchie. Okay, so we're back at the machine. Now I am hoping you can see what I'm doing. I've tried to get the angle so you can see it. So first of all, I'm going to join the two short edges here. So I'll match them up and just join them across, again using the edge of my foot as a guide. I'm going to just return a couple of stitches to lock that in place, and then just literally run across there and back. So we've got a loop, okay? You don't need to press this one, it really makes no difference on the scrunchie. So what I want to do is just fold it over where we've got the opening. Sorry, I'm a little close. And pinch it, just to make sure it's flat. Same on the other side. Fold it over where I pressed it along and just pinch it. Now, I'm going to take my elastic. Now, this is a little tricky. There are other ways to do scrunchies. If you prefer the other method, use the method you prefer. This one, it is a tricky one, but once you've done it 2 or 3 times, it's really quite easy, and you can whip these up in no time at all. So, first of all, I'm going to take the edge of the scrunchie and I'm going to put it in the middle of the band. I'm going to take the other edge and bring it up, and I want to make those seams meet quite nicely there, and I want about an inch, just let me put that the other way, sorry, an inch through the band either side here. So the band, as you can see, goes through the middle of the fabric. I'm going to take this and put it under my foot. Now I prefer to sew these with my needle in the right position. So I'm going to move my needle across to the right, and I use my foot as a guide for the stitch, okay? So I've got that there, and I just, with that little bit, I want to go back a couple of stitches and then forwards a couple of stitches. Now what I want you to notice is the needle goes in, I'm hand turning this, and on the return, just on the up, and we leave it there. It's very important we do that. Now, well, just get this going and I'll explain why. So now I'm pulling the fabric through the middle of the elastic and matching up those 2 pressed edges. Okay, and I'm just going to stitch along. You can do that quite slowly. It's not a marathon. The first couple of times you do it, it's a little tricky to pull the fabric through the elastic and match the edges. So that elastic is always in the middle. Oops, a daisy. Now you will get faster the more you do these because it's quite easy. So the reason why the needle is inserted in this manner, so when we finish, you can see my needle's up. I'm going to turn it so the needle goes down into the fabric and it's on the way up, and I stop. And the two reasons for that is, firstly, in coming back up, it locks the stitch. You get your stitch instead of having a skipped stitch. So if you suffer from skip stitches, it's because you haven't completed the stitch. The needle has to be on the return up. And also, because we're pulling at this fabric to pull these two edges together, if the needle's in, the fabric's not going to come away. It stays there, okay? And it's locked under the foot with the needle in. So it's quite secure to have a bit of a pull and a tug at. And so then we can just carry on pulling the fabric through, matching the two edges and stitching around this scrunchie 1 millimetre or 2 from the edge. Okay, just make sure you pull one edge through that elastic and match as you go. Now, I have to tell you, I hate watching people sew on videos, but I'm not running this on because it's quite important. And if you're not used to doing this, I think sometimes it is good to watch and learn how other people do it. Now you will notice my fingers go very, very close to this needle. If you're not used to sewing, I'll tell you why. Because I keep my fingers flat on the bed of the sewing machine, okay? So they're holding this seam together. You notice I haven't pinned it or clipped it. So my fingers are flat on the bed. Now my foot curves up at the end, and as I get towards it, my fingers can't go near to my needle to be caught, but I can move it away and carry on sewing. So they're acting as my pins or my clips, and I'm not at risk of sewing my finger in any way, shape or form. It's not going to go anywhere near there as long as I keep it pressed down to the bed. So don't be frightened of your sewing machine. Use your hands. Our hands are quite some amazing miracles, to be honest. And they're much better when you're doing fiddly things than pins and clips. So I'm just letting this feed through because I'm near the end. You can see this has come together beautifully. There's no need to ease anything here. It's come together lovely because there were two strips the same length because we cut it in half. And just at the end there, I'm just going to reverse. I'm going to take it out, cut both my ends off here with my scissors. And my big, ta-da! Here we have a hair scrunchie. There we go. One hair scrunchie, complete. As I said, when you've done 2 or 3, it becomes really easy. The stitching is nice and close to the edge here, as you can see, on both sides. It's nice and neat, and that goes into somebody's hair twice round. It's a lovely scrunchie, nice and secure, and that uses your jelly roll strips. I hope you've enjoyed my videos. Feel free to watch the others, and I'll be doing some more soon. Thanks, bye.